Y'all already have that. It's called womanism. So why can't y'all just be womanists?
Because feminism is
It's more encompassing of the other groups.
no, it's because womanist I think is more like self-reflective, like what you identify with and what you go through as a woman. Well, I'll.
Yep, I'm ready when you are, brother.
You good?
Yep, I'm good.
Yeah, she's about to school us on what a womanist and a feminist is.
Just my shallow perspective. I don't know because I'm not.
Well.
Yeah.
It's all good, Joe.
Rom's like, we recorded now. Fuck that shit.
Alright, what up? Welcome to You Panic, place for the real ones to have real conversations with zero fucks given. I'm your host, Rome, joined here by the God G, the God of Sheens, and this is episode 41 of the You Panic podcast. Listeners, thank you for listening, thank you for tuning in, thank you for sharing, thank you for caring. We got a good episode today. We're actually sitting here with a dope filmmaker. Yo, check out his resume, you know what I'm saying? He's got lately, I think, 2 wins at the Las Vegas Black Film Festival, one for Best Actor, one for Music Score. He's a writer, director, actor, all of that, filmmaker, all-around great guy. Give it up for Ralph Celestin.
Hey.
Very blessed to be here.
Word. Thanks for coming through, yo.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? How's your day? How you been?
Blessed, man. It's been a good weekend.
Nice.
Summer's out finally in Boston, so it's nice. Be out here.
It took a little bit.
Yeah, it always takes a little bit.
For real. Well, yo, thanks for chilling. Thanks for stopping in, talking with us. You know what I mean? This is a place where we just like to have real discussions, keep it real casual, keep it real first and foremost. And, we're always looking to learn just from different perspectives, and that's why we do this. You know?
Zero fucks given.
Zero fucks given.
My favorite part of it.
So, as always, let me just plug the website. Make sure you go to upanic.com, upanicd.com. Go down TC, join the convo. Do so the best way you know how. That means follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And, of course, subscribe. All right? Make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Audio Mac, Google Play. Make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe there. And anywhere you podcast, we are there. But that's it. It's You Panic. It's You Panic. Yo, G.
Yo, what's up?
How you feeling?
Well, I don't know how to feel right now. I got 2 people next to me talk about Drake body pusher, and another one over here talking about, we need to be feminists. So I'm like, I'm mad confused right now. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
It's important and necessary. It can have like a very special place for Black women. That's all I'm saying.
Very special place. Yeah, it's called the back.
And to be clear, all right,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say Drake, I didn't say Drake bodied Pusha.
Okay.
I just said that Drake didn't actually take an L from Pusha.
You don't think it's a good L?
Pusha didn't beat Drake in no rap beef. Pusha spilled the tea. All right, he didn't outbar Drake. He didn't even put out a better song than Drake. He didn't even spit better than Drake. The flow, Drake had a better flow in Duppy Freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
All Pusha did was drop some rumors, drop some news that no one knew about, so everyone went crazy. But if you actually break that down, Duppy Freestyle is a much better diss track. If you took away the impact of the child.
I don't know about better diss track. I
It's
would
a better
say
song. Yeah, it's a better song.
That's just like, it's kind of like, think about it. It's like
crazy.
It's a Takeover Ether effect, right?
Yeah.
Takeover was a better song.
Right.
But what Nas was saying on Ether was just
Ether.
disrespectful.
I
It's
thought
the
Ether
same
was
thing
the
with
best song
Pusha.
in Takeover. I thought Ether was the best song in Takeover. I love Ether. Ether, that's a club banger.
Club banger. Yeah,
Ether was on a club.
I think Nas bodied Jay on Ether.
Yeah.
But Takeover is still a better song. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. Like, y'all be honest, Ether's beats suck too. I'm just keeping 100.
Pusha's been getting like backlash. People have been calling him Auntie Push on
Auntie
Twitter,
Push.
like messy, gossipy woman or whatever.
That's kind of how he came off to me.
That's all good.
They call him Auntie Push, and giving him like a asymmetrical.
He should have kept it to rap. He should have kept it to rap. He should have outspit him to really earn that respect.
No, but think about it. What are you gonna rap about? Like, think about look at battle rap today. It's the people that usually win the battle are people who go personal. They do research, you got robbed
like
on this.
Real battle rap?
Real battle rap, like URL.
Shout out to Smack URL.
Dudes is literally like, they going through your high school yearbook. Like, dudes is doing everything they can. They interviewing your baby moms. They trying to get all kind of dirt on you.
Yeah, so
That's
Push
what
just
Push
had the
did.
sting.
Push, that's what he did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what
He smacked him with reality, the
and
truth.
Then
You know what I mean?
and then coupled with that cover, like that picture that he found of
That's
Drake
all
and
right.
Black.
Yo, I think it was the overall
Yeah.
presentation.
Yo, the whole
That was out of
package.
context, though. That was completely out of context.
Yeah.
It don't
It
matter.
was a cheap move.
I seen that shit. I was like, yo,
Very
Drake,
true.
answer right now. I'm not fucking with you no more.
In the
You know
song,
what I
he
mean?
did acknowledge that
dead
Drake
serious.
did to a degree sell his soul because people have made reference to the fact that Drake liked Little Brother and like Tyler Quali and Chaos and more quote unquote conscious rap. And when somebody else made the association of Little Brother's album, The Minstrel Show, and Drake possibly being inspired by that, and then, you know, painting his face, like, not in the exact same likeness because Little Brother didn't do blackface.
Yeah.
But the theme of the album Minstrel Show was the concept of the music industry being very minstrelly and tap dancey. So the fact that, like, Drake really jumped all the way out of the window and, like, had his face painted. And then, Pusha T acknowledged that, like, he sold his soul and things like that. Because, like,
I don't see any truth in what you just said.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
There's absolutely no truth in
What?
You know what? Jay-Z had one of the best lines in hip hop history. I'm sure you guys know it. When I'm going to ruin it, but he mentioned something where once he realized going commercial, he stopped making the common sense because it didn't bring common sense.
Truthfully, I want to rhyme like
Common
common sense,
sense,
but I did 5 mil. I ain't gonna
Ain't
rhyme
rhyme
like common sense.
Yeah, fact.
Props for having that. Top of the head. But so like that's kind of how it comes down when it comes to Drake and either going commercial. Like it's just the fact that there was no money. At the end of the day, they got to eat. Drake holds down the whole family and all of the 6 people. Like they need to eat. So he went commercial.
Yo,
You just see OVO Mansion? That shit's huge.
Yo, but not even. Yo, like one thing I respect
You're
about
right.
Drake, well, most of the time, he doesn't try to front like, yo, he a street dude. Well, lately he's been dabbling a little bit, but you know what I mean. He was like a safe.
He's always for the ladies.
Yeah,
type.
you know what I'm saying? He's like the modern day LL, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got his own lane. Like, stay in that lane because, like, everybody could rock with you. Like, you know, suburban kids, inner city kids, everybody could fuck with you.
He
like,
said he do One Direction numbers, yo. At that point, I ain't going back either.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Is
Like,
it true that 20-something of his songs are already on the top Billboard?
More than that.
I think so,
It's way more than that.
shit, man.
That's
what's
crazy.
up.
Yeah.
He's
He
that
got the
motherfucker's
streaming cheat code too, yo.
that nigga's a biracial Beatle. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious. Shout
He's
out
not
to
a black
Drake and
Beatle,
Push.
he's got to be a biracial.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of good
right.
music regardless, yo. You know what I mean? So it's...
Nah, don't he embrace his Jewish side?
He does.
He
All
does.
right then. All right then. So yeah, I'm right. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I know you said you saw the movie.
Yes.
You said you saw the movie. I'm eager to hear the feedback. There hasn't been an interview I've had yet where I've actually heard someone give me like their review. Oh, there was one. There was one in Salem State, but this.
Yo, keep it real, bro.
The first thing I gotta say, yo, the first thing I'll say, and this was, I love the story of this movie, right? But the first thing
You have notes? You have notes?
Huh? Yeah.
You came prepared.
Yo, the very first thing I noticed was how, so your character, you play the main...
Rome,
yes, you play Rome, right, exactly. So you play the main character, yo, and remind me, something happens to his parents in the beginning.
Yeah, so my parents died in a tragic accident in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, basically, he moves in with his godmother down in Philly, right? And it was just funny the way it happened. I think it was a sequence of events. He moved down to Philly. I think he was going out to have a good time. Probably jumped on the train. You know what I'm saying? Ran into this white girl playing some acoustic music. You know what I'm saying? Everyone was feeling. And then there was one girl who was feeling her, and she started crying. And then you went up to her and started macking on her. I was like, yo, why is he crying on this? Why is he crying on this chick?
Bro, my brother, I think you missed a lot of different layers just now. Boston
made it so simple.
Boston to Philly is not a film. Like, it's not your typical film. A lot of people are used to different type of film depending on the genre of choice. Boston to Philly is a film that you may need to watch again because the dialogue explains a lot of the story.
Yes.
That's the first part. So the very beginning of it gives you, like, if you watch the entire movie and you don't even know the element of Rome losing his parents, then that's a major point of it.
So we'll definitely go further into it. That was just my first.
Oh, okay, your first reaction.
It was
that was my
the,
first
it was
reaction.
the introduction of Boston to Philly, like by way of Rome, and like the way he like met the girl. Because you're looking at the scene, she's crying, and then I guess it was just like the next shot she walks away. You notice how
And then he runs behind her, yo.
So she got the cake.
And then she was thick. I was like, okay.
Very beautiful. The voluptuous part, I'll be
alright. I understand, bro.
He was alright. I'm about to.
But I mean, I think just to kind of put a little bit more in depth into that scene.
Got you. Yep.
What there was a connection made because she was crying.
Yes.
Like you have to understand, like what you saw from going to Philadelphia to the train station was Rome in his room, isolated, staying in his room as time is progressing in the montage, and whenever he's out of his room, he's fighting with his stepmother. So like there's the issue of he's dealing with a certain stage of depression. Now, when he sees Philly for the first time, she's crying, yes, because we know from the movie she's dealing with her own shit.
Yeah, she got.
But that connection, that hurt, that pain,
yeah,
that's actually what got his attention. The fact that she was crying,
so
he wanted to help her. It was a damsel in distress. The fatty probably would have made him fall in love.
Yo, I got a question. Hold on.
Damsel in distress.
I gotta ask you this question because me and
do
Sheen's talked about this in the whip.
Bet.
Yo, like a woman crying, does that appear, or do you think there's something sexy about it, or it makes her more attractive?
There's something attractive about it in her vulnerability, because this is a thing.
It's a thing. What kind of men?
I mean, to be real with you, if my first introduction is a woman crying, my first reaction is to try to help. But I don't think sex at that point.
Bingo. That's all.
Sex isn't the first thing in my mind. My first thing in my mind is just like, yo, my moral code is telling me someone's in distress. Let me help them. Now, if she's bad, after realizing she's not crying over, if after talking to her I realize she's not crying over some dude, then bet now it's okay. Well, maybe this could turn into something sexual.
But you spoke about the element of Rome being attracted to this woman. You mentioned damsel in distress.
Yeah.
So is she in distress because she's crying? Sometimes you just want to have like a good cry, and like the way that Rome, it didn't seem like she was like all the way in, like receptive to want to talk to a guy, or even in her, and we could definitely talk about it later. I know that there's like a lot of layers to the film, but she's going through her own stuff, and we've talked in the past about catcalling, and just like the green light, the red light for when a woman does and doesn't want to like really engage at that time too. So I think throughout the course of the film, like, are they both really ready to be in a relationship? Are they really ready? If they're going through their own significant traumas, definitely be there as a support system. But are they really ready to emotionally embark into a relationship?
Well, that's a really good point, and that was something that, again, in the film, there was that back and forth where there was a constant sense of she wasn't ready, and the only escape Rome kind of had from dealing with his own issues and dealing with this like impossible assignment. Like, imagine being a freshman, having an assignment where you need to look deeper into your inner self.
Right.
You're not at the age, you haven't been through enough life to even understand what that means.
Right.
Well, let's first give a synopsis of the film.
Well, let's start. Yeah, let's start with
Man, Rome got the notes. I wish you guys could see into this room. My man got notes, swagged out, like he's ready to go. It's digital. I'm sure that battery's fully charged. Like, we're good.
Battery's charged for sure.
You already know.
I know G just waiting to jump on.
Not even. Yo, you Haitian like me, bro. Yeah, South Pacific, my man.
But so let's jump into it. I definitely took that scene out of context. That was just my first. I was like, this is
It's all love.
But when you go into the film, you realize it's like, okay, he actually ends up connecting with these people via this. I don't know if it's via the professor, but that definitely put the bug in their ear to, connect with these different people, and he realizes all these other folks are going through their own thing, and it's kind of like meshing a relationship, but. We'll get into that. First, I just wanted to know, how did you get into acting, filmmaking? Which one came first?
Yeah. So, my journey as an artist started as a poet, actually.
Okay.
So, I started writing poetry. I also being like an athlete. I was a baller first. But in terms of finding my outlet, a way of expression outside of sports and just chilling with my guys, I started writing poetry. Okay. And from there, it naturally evolved into something greater, where I just wanted to continue to challenge the art form of written literature. So I went from writing poetry to short stories. After I was published in poetry, then I was published as a short story writer, and from there it just evolved gradually into writing screenwriting, and I took that leap from being a screenwriter to actually directing and producing film after realizing that I no longer trusted someone else to put my written work into a visual aspect. I had to do it myself.
Got you. And how many films Because I was checking out your IMDb, and I was like, oh, he's got like a healthy amount of... I seen like 4 or 5.
Well, that's outdated because I've won more than 2 awards. Like Boston and Philly at this point is won, I think, 7 or 8 awards.
Nice.
7 or 8 awards.
Yeah, and the most recent one was the best movie in the Haiti Movie Awards. Yeah, and that was a really big deal. But at this point, so my directorial debut project is Boston and Philly. That's what we're like. That's I think my first film I've ever done myself.
Boston affiliate.
Yeah, Boston to Philly. That's
Boston
the one.
to Philly is the first one.
That's
Okay,
the first
gotcha.
one.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of films that I've written or I've helped, like I've kind of helped co-produce or worked as a PA. But in terms of like my actual projects, Boston and Philly is the very first one.
Okay, so this one holds some weight with you for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
My opus.
And so now we can go into the movie. So, like, again, it looks like the movie dives into young people dealing with trauma. They all look like it's the first time they've spoken about the different things that they've been dealing with. Each one says to the other, you have no idea. But each one has a very deep trauma that they're dealing with. Do you think that, with that statement, are you saying that we should be more open to talking about, like, our personal issues with people that we trust? I guess I want to get, like, your personal take on, like... Yeah. This spin on the movie?
Well, the movie is a little bit different because these group of individuals, they were kind of forced to do this because of an assignment, correct? I feel as though in reality, most people have some, I would hope, I pray, that every single person has a solid foundation at home that they can divulge those personal information to a parent, to a father, to a mother, and to a best friend. In this scenario, it was a little bit different because they had to do it for an assignment.
Right.
But I definitely urge families and tight-knit units to always be open with their children and have them feel they can be open with them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'll always preach open, honest. Feel me? Like, that has to be how it is.
Yeah. You got to get that out, yo. You know what I mean?
Table Talk. Have you heard of Table Talk? Or Red
Table Talk.
Red Table Talk? Yeah. That's fascinating. To put us in a world where, like, a mother and daughter is talking about everything, like, I love that part.
That's a good point.
And some people have acknowledged the fact that... dinner time where the family is sitting together at one table and talking about how the kids' day went at school, how the parents' days went at work, at home, or whatever they're doing. That doesn't really happen. People are just so on the go in and out. Like, I know growing up, like, I never, like, sat at a dinner table with family, and, like, we just never really did that. We're, like, there's a lot of families who are, I guess, maybe see themselves more as unconventional in that sense. So, like, to even just have that space to... sit down and be so open about different issues. I know, like, Willow's been open about, I think she said that she was, like, cutting at one point. Like,
yes, right. She mentioned cutting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the movie mentions cutting. It's a very popular thing that people know about.
Yeah. And I also liked how the film, with the characters, they wore the trauma that they had in a way of, they're obviously, like, repressing it because they have to go through it their day-to-day. They have to go to school. They have to go to work and whatever they have going on. So I thought it was great in the way that it reflected, like, just because maybe not everybody that wears their trauma, it doesn't mean that somebody's not going through something just because, like, someone may be seemingly quote-unquote normal. It doesn't mean that they don't have their, crazy turmoil that they're dealing with.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yo, do you think trauma gets in the way of forming relationships? Like, I saw that the movie kind of... It looked like it... So, like, the story of the movie... The story looks like it kind of, like, talks about, I guess, forming these relationships, but, like, via trauma. Almost.
Yeah, dealing with the trauma. I think... That's a dope question. I can't wait to hear G's response to this.
Yeah.
But
I'm just curious, yo. I wish I watched the film, man. I feel, like, incomplete right now.
You feel it?
Yeah, because I feel like I can't really give my, like, point of view.
To be real with you, G, like, the movie... The topics the movie discusses are things you can still talk about even without seeing the movie. You can always give your perspective.
Yeah, I'll give my perspective, but I just...
But Rome, to be like, I'll tell you, I feel as though that is life. That's part of life. You got to deal with something. Life will come at you. You got to deal with something.
Right.
And I think that's going to impact how you react and how you engage with certain people. And that's the impact where it comes from. Like, I feel as though, like, women when they get cheated on by a guy, that sticks in their brain, and that's now going to react, and they're going to act towards a new guy a certain way, less trusting. Yeah. So in a very simplistic matter, I think any type of trauma you feel changes the way you interact with other people. But how you deal with it, that's completely based on the person.
Right. And so, like, how that person receives it even.
Exactly, yeah. But the first scene when the entire group is together, is the Gino scene, right? When they're at the pizza shop, the very famous place in Philly, and immediately you see that Rome isn't fitting in with nobody.
Right.
Like he's very standoffish. He doesn't even want to do this, and then he walks up and leaves. And then eventually, G's like, yo, like, you're not better than anyone else right now. We're all going through shit.
Yeah.
Have a seat. Let's do this. So, like, that's because of his trauma.
Right.
That's how he feels.
That makes sense. Yeah, I just put that together now, actually. Like, yeah, he is real standoffish.
Can I ask a quick question? When I was watching it, there was a line that I caught, but I wasn't positive that you said it. When the four of you are sitting down, you guys are going around just doing like a Q&A, and I think the other guy, I'm bad with names, I forget his name, but
G,
okay. He was like, he didn't want to, because, there's another guy named I'm not playing.
I'm just serious.
I'm just serious. So he was like reluctant to answer, and I think, did Rome say, like, what are you too street to answer?
He did say that.
Yeah.
He caught it. Good stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Good stuff.
And later on, I was talking about, to Rome about how, I've never seen a perspective in a film where what black people outside of Boston think about black Bostonians. And so wasn't he telling you something like, get out of here with your baked beans and your...
Yeah, I wrote that on it,
What is Boston baked beans?
It's a candy.
It is a candy.
So it's only a candy.
I'm out here, bro.
Yo, we literally, even with the sound guys out there, we were all trying to figure out, like, yo, what is Boston baked beans?
I know the candy, but I
It's
didn't know
actually delicious.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't know
never
it
heard
was
of
just the candy. I thought it was like a signature... I thought it was more of like a meal, a dish. But I knew about the candy.
The candy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got all of these Bostonians in this motherfucker, and nobody knew, but like one person knew. Another person,
we kind of knew.
he took a guess. It was like, yeah, I think it's candy.
Because I was seeing, I just know they sold them the carts at the train station. You know what I mean? So I knew it was like some type of snack, but I never actually bought them yet.
But like my experience living in Boston and even going to Philadelphia has always been like I'm a wanderer. Like I didn't grow up with money, so like I just walk everywhere, listening to hip hop, listening to music, and like my travels would bring me to learn about these things. So I know about Boston baked beans because the Red Trail, the Freedom Trail, that a lot of people in Boston don't even know about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They sell them everywhere. At every gift shop, they have Boston baked beans. So you learn about it.
I feel like everybody took that field trip in the elementary
Facts.
school.
Yeah, but you don't understand what's happening. You're just spitting game to the girl with the big booty and all that. But as an adult,
while she crying,
right? My God, it's gonna happen to you one day. You can be like, yo, here it is. It's my Boston and Philly moment.
Hey man, I'm married, but I know how. I'm gonna keep it 100, y'all. How I did it. It was like,
hey, look where it got you.
There were people talking about, yo, that's classified as cat calling. I said, a word, so whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
to be, Boston didn't cat call Philly. Like, she actually stopped him before he even got to the point where he was gonna say something to her, and then he left her, and she came back to him.
She did.
Yeah,
so there's every single time there's been a situation where like she's like ran away. Boston has in fact like stepped back, and then she's come back to him.
But who wrote it though?
I wrote it.
Yeah.
what are you saying? So,
I show love to females throughout the whole movie.
No.
I show love to women throughout the entire movie. There's even a scene where I talk about the whole like the way black culture views sex and how they always make it very violent towards women.
Yeah, there's a scene where she's in the pool hall. She's getting
Fight Club.
I don't know. I don't know what I don't want to like not spoil. I don't know.
Good. Give it all out.
So but yeah, when there's a scene where she's going to like, okay, so let me just back up.
North Philly.
So Philly, the girl that you met, she's dealing with her own thing. The thing that she's dealing with is she's had like she has an ex, I guess, who she ends up being an ex.
Yeah.
Well, it's deeper than that, right? So again, Boston and Philly is one of those films. It's layered. It's very similar to a Crash or a. What's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I would compare it to a Crash.
Well, what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio with the dreams? I always forget it. Insomnia.
Inception.
Where like you might need to watch it a couple more times to understand.
Yeah.
So, property of is a terminology in the bike club community.
Okay.
So as you know, they're all bikers. It's a biker club.
Yeah.
So property of actually means that the woman. It's actually a respectable thing, but women are owned by a respected member of a bike club. That's what it means to be property of, and that's for life. So if you're property of to someone, you're pretty much that person's property. You're that individual. She was property of to somebody.
For this bike.
Hence why there's no such thing as an ex when you're property of. Like
I see.
That's theirs.
Because when she showed up, they were like, "Yo, you ain't even been around here for like the past whatever years,
exactly.
yo, blah blah blah." You know what I mean? But like before that, there was a woman. I think she was like just speaking to like women's issues. She was talking about. My fault. Can you remind me what she's talking about?
So the whole monologue, and that was
bro, he was asleep, bro.
No, he got it. He really got it.
I got it. Listen.
Yeah. So like the whole monologue, acted by Leigh Gregory, who's like a very well known Philadelphia actor right now. She's doing wonderful things. She's so amazing. The whole monologue was about why is it that black men always look at sex with a woman in a violent term. So why is it that when you're making love to a woman, I hit that, I beat that, I pipe that, I smash that. Why can't you be? I made love to that. Like, would you treat that way? Like, would you talk to your mom like that? That's how the whole thing was.
Yeah, I didn't want to butcher that message, so I wanted to make sure.
I mean, it's been a long time. I kind of butchered it too, but the whole point was like every single term in terms of how black men refer to sex with a woman has to be violent.
Yeah.
Knock those boots. I smashed that.
But those are with shorties that ain't like your woman. You know what I'm saying? Because really think about this. When it's your significant other, dudes don't be like, yeah, yo, I hit that. Dudes won't even bring up sex.
Yeah.
If it's like your wife or like your girlfriend that's serious.
Right.
It's usually like shorties that you just meet at the club or, you know, like, oh, this girl from whatever, yeah, I took that down or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the disconnect. That's the disconnect, right? You have to get to that
point. Because when a guy starts seeing a woman, okay? Even if he does really like her, they are going to be like, so you hit that yet? You smash?
Yeah.
But then, I mean, that's the start of any relationship. Like, you know, it might go left. You might not see her again. But then you might continue to see her.
I don't know. I'm just saying, once it becomes serious, that whole, like, I guess the toxic masculinity towards women, the violence towards women, with the idea of smashing, piping, all that language switches up. Like, because then it's kind of like, because when you say, like, I hit that, I smashed that, I'm just saying, when a dude says that, it's kind of like, yo, she doesn't really mean much to me. And then that kind of signifies to other guys, like, word, maybe I get hit, or this, that, and the third, right? But once a dude's, like, really in a relationship, that language disappears. Dudes we're no longer going like, yeah, I hit that last night. Because dudes gonna be like, oh, word, you hit that? Yo, I was a pussy. If that's your girl, you're gonna be like, yo, watch your mouth. You see what I'm saying? Right. So I'm just saying, like, there's levels to the way we view sex. You know what I mean? So
this isn't in the context of a relationship, but there's a scene in the movie where G is talking to his friend, and G is just giving. G is just like, oh, you know, it's cool. We're doing this class assignment. You know, there's this dude Rome. You know, this chick calls him Boston. They might have a thing going on. I don't know. But he's talking about all of their traumas. And he's just like, there's this Asian chick. Bad. She's a cutter.
Bad John.
Yeah. She's a cutter. Blah, blah, blah. So, you know,
said just like that?
Yeah.
She's a cutter.
She's a cutter.
She's a cutter.
I'm putting like an inflection on it. Like, it wasn't really said like that. But after all of that, and the guy is talking about the respective traumas, the first question he asks is, so that Asian chick, you hitting that? Fresh off of a conversation about their traumas and her trauma.
Yo, she ain't
reality.
I don't hold back when it comes to like my views on like the street dude. Like I definitely like yo like I do a little bit of both. I respect it. I also clown it at the same time.
Right, and I'm always receptive to all people because there's street nerds, there's hood cornballs. You know what I mean? Like we're all so very colorful and
very different.
You know, if you judge a book by its cover, it's just like you're missing out on so much. So.
Yo, so let's move to this next one. What makes you want to speak on this particular subject? And on this particular subject, I mean, like, so the trauma and relationships and stuff like that with this movie. What makes you want to speak on that particular subject? Why this particular direction with the film? How did this come together?
Dope. I mean, it's a little difficult, Rome, only because there's multiple subjects I wanted to speak on, which is why I mentioned a lot of different things.
You do.
Like,
hold on, I gotta backtrack.
There's another one I'm gonna go into.
Hold on, I gotta backtrack. So, the times that people saying Rome and G, there's characters in the film named Rome and G.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the listening audience is probably like, what the fuck? Like,
right. Yes.
That's such a funny coincidence too. Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I mean, it shows you how true it is.
Yeah.
But so I guess I just wanted to paint a picture of what's it like to deal with loss. Like what it would look like for like a young black male to deal with the loss of a family unit on his own, and then being in a new city to that. Right. Because again, every film, every project I do has a personal element to me. And
I was going to say,
I wrote the film traveling from Boston to Philadelphia, leaving behind all my friends and family, going to a new place without any friends and family, and like the professor is based off of my grandfather, who passed away during the making of the film. So I knew that his health was iliated, like going down fast. I knew that was going to happen.
Can I ask, why'd you choose to go to Philly?
Yeah, so I was given a job offer to relocate from Boston to Philadelphia, and I reached a point where I felt as though like there was something
that was holding you back.
Something new that I needed to go to.
Nice.
So it wasn't necessarily something that you're running away from. It's more like,
absolutely not.
Yo, new chapter, I'm going.
Something I'm looking forward to. I wanted to expand. I wanted to kind of grow. Get to that mature level.
So yo, now that you just said that, why what made you depict What made you depict your grandfather as the professor?
I just wanted to have a catalyst that pushed forward the film, like a staple where this one person is kind of just moving everything along in terms of being the guidance.
Right.
Like it's a very common journey's tale where there's there's a guide, there's a narrator. So I felt as though I wanted to have a film where there was a narrator, and that's who else but my grandfather, who was in parts the narrator of my life.
Gotcha, I see.
He's an old school Haitian dude, like sits you on everything.
Yeah,
so that was kind of like my thinking. Was I just wanted to have a narrator, a guidance, someone to kind of move forward everybody.
Okay, no, that makes sense then.
That's a good question. Dope questions.
No, man. Let's move into this next one, because you did say you touch on multiple things. This one goes into public education. So there's a moment where two characters are in the film. I think it's G and someone else, like the dude who's always
G and it.
And they're talking about the lack of funding in Philly education. Is this commentary? I want to know if that scene is commentary on today's issues with public education. And I guess I'm wondering the professor who challenged those students to open up, could a surge of caring teachers like that maybe compensate for the lack of funding in education? I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We can go around and touch on that, but I actually don't think the issue is the teachers. I think teachers care because they don't make enough money not to care. Teachers don't. They're not getting the big bucks. No one's there to be rich. I think for the most part, the people that choose to be teachers, especially even now in this day and age, they're doing it because they truly care about making an impact in someone's life. Now, I'm sure there's some bad apples out there, but for the most part, I believe every single school has a teacher. The majority of teachers care about the students, care about providing them education. I think it always comes down to funding and the money and the resources.
No, you're right.
And especially in Philadelphia. So it just so happens that the film touched on a lot of different things that are still relevant, and even more so like hot topics like affluenza. That was trending just 2 months ago. Right now, with the elections occurring, educational funding is a big deal. And again, Pennsylvania has the worst one in the entire country. It's the top 10 in the entire country, something like that. So it comes down to money. These kids don't have paper. These kids don't in Arlington, Massachusetts, where I actually was born and raised. They have tablets. They have all the software and the resources. And then there's other places in the inner city that don't have anything like that. Philadelphia, they don't have paper, the print stuff. They don't have computers. They don't have updated windows. It is a vast difference, and it's something that had to be talked about.
Yeah.
And so that's my thinking, though. It comes down to the money.
No, it does. Charter schools, the kids be having their own tablets, during reading time, and that's really interesting.
Niggas used to have them hand-me-down science textbooks.
Yeah, we had tablets.
We had to tape them up,
all of that.
Right.
Yeah,
I went to shitty-ass Boston public school.
Yeah. We didn't have textbooks. We had, we just had, Xerox, pamphlets and packets.
What's the difference between a charter school and a public school?
Charter school has their own board that it's literally a charter, so they have a different decree. So
and the money comes from that board?
Nah, so the money still comes from the state, but they also have outside funding that's pumped into that individual school. So let's say we are the board and we say, you know what, we want to create a charter school. And we want our focus to be, let's say, on sound engineering or whatever. So it's
the state.
Yeah, we created it. So now it's still a public school, but we as the board, we could funnel in additional funds to that school. You see what I'm saying? And so, like, while other public schools are just strictly public schools where, you know, the superintendent in whatever office divvies up, like, the money, and they're just like, all right, you get X amount. But charter schools could get that plus more from, you know, individuals that are really passionate about the mission and things of that nature.
And then the pilot school.
So the pilot school, I think there's like I know it's like a difference. I think pilot schools have a focus. That's what it is. Charter schools
a trade school.
Yeah, not a trade school, but like for example, Boston Arts Academy. Yeah. That's a pilot school.
Gotcha.
But it's similar to a charter school, but a pilot school usually has a particular focus. So like because like Boston Arts Academy is the arts. So like that's why it's like a pilot school. Okay. Now a technical school is more like tech, like you know what I mean, like engineering, like you know those type of vocational careers or whatever. But like a pilot school could just be a particular focus. Like it could be like this school just focuses on like let's say biology or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or you know it could just be a particular subject. But like tech, like vocational schools usually like the vocational fields like electricians, plumbers, you know, mechanics, things of that nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of mechanics, in this next question, I like that. I just like that you threw this in here, right? There's a scene. It's going towards the end. Boston's talking to I think it's A.R.Ab's character.
Yeah.
And like the way A.R.Ab like kind of starts talking shit, he's like he kind of points out like the character type of a thug, quote unquote, where he's like, yo, so you know we're from the mud, you know we're like ex-factory workers, and you know when they took our jobs, you know we had to kind of resort to these type of things. Before I move into the next part of it, like I guess, were you trying to say anything with that? Because I'm also looking at Rome's character's name as Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they basically punked the fuck out of Boston right after.
I don't think they punked him, man. I don't think they punked him. But I feel you. I don't think he got punked, but I feel you. He got hit. He got hit. He got smoked in retaliation of a woman hitting him. He could have either hit the woman and he hit Rome instead.
Yes.
I felt as though Rome assessed the situation and felt as though, well, like, what is he going to do in that situation?
Yeah.
But I feel you. That's dope, bro. That's dope. So, like, first and foremost, shout out to A.R.Ab because, again, one of the biggest elements to making Boston a Philly was I really wanted to I wanted to get a cosign to the realness of Philly. And I'm never going to be that dude that says he's shooting in North Philly and not be in North Philly. So that I wouldn't make a movie like shot in like Mattapan and not be in Mattapan. Right. And so, I think...
Like, was it like Blue Alive? Like, it was actually filmed in like Detroit, right?
Something crazy.
Yo, there's
or Detroit is shot over by like downtown Crossing.
It's wild. Like, there's points where like they're going down Blue Alive, but on opposite sides, like how they cut it, they fucked up. I was like,
oh, I didn't even notice it. So it wasn't shot in Boston at all.
Nah, they just shot like
Blue Hill Ave is not shot in Blue Hill Ave.
It was like Detroit or something. It was crazy.
And there's a point where they drive through Simcoe's, and then the next part they're driving through Mattapan.
Yeah, I was like, they fucked it all up.
And the movie Detroit that just recently came out wasn't shot in Detroit. It was shot in Boston.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the whole thing. Again, I think that sense of this. Like, I pride myself on being a real artist, and I feel that there needs to be a realness to it. There needs to be authenticity. So with that scene, and A.R.Ab was like, as street as he is, he respects the art, and he's a rapper, so he knows the power of words. And that scene is that monologue is what made him sign on, because what I did with that monologue was explain the actual history of Philadelphia in the perspective of a gangster.
Yes.
As you guys know, Philadelphia, when it was booming, when it was at its best, it was a factory heavy, blue collar worker city. And then from there, when all those factories shut down, what was left? And then of course the influx of drugs came in, leaving two sides: the people doing drugs, the people selling drugs. Right. And that's kind of what he was saying. Was like things got hard, so they had to get harder. And then he mentioned Boston and how like we had molasses. Yeah, we're a lot cleaner. We're white collar. We had the lawyers. We had all these different things, different elements. We're not from the same neck of the woods. Don't come here looking for our women. Right. Like, that's really the whole thing. Like she's property of. She's spoken for.
Gotcha.
Like, that was the whole thing.
that makes sense.
But I gotta ask you guys. I gotta ask you guys this because now you said you got punk. And I haven't spoken to anyone about that scene yet. Like, this movie's only been out for 8 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
fresh.
You haven't seen the movie, so G, do you want to explain it to G? Maybe your perspective. When he gets hit, the Rome gets punched.
It did seem like he got sunned and he got snuffed. Yeah. And
so they G-checked the shit.
You know what it was? It was the monologue that kind of. I think for me it's the monologue that kind of like just overshadowed. Like, look, this is a different level of gangster down here. It's almost like what it looked like he was saying.
Yeah,
that's how
exactly what he was saying too.
And I think that's why I looked at it like, damn, we kind of sunned him a little. I think that just that one part, that line.
So if he slapped him without saying what he said, you would have been like, whatever.
It's not a slap, it's a punch though. He hit him.
He hit him
hard. Like the hat. First of all, an ab actually hit me. So he didn't want to fake it. I'm like, yo, I mean, I didn't really say to fake it either. I just like, yo, don't hit me hard. And every time we tried to kind of fake it, it didn't look good on camera. Yeah. Gotcha. So I'm like, yo, I'm already here. And that scene we had a lot of problems with that scene. Like, a lot, like the bike club it's a real bike club. So there's some things we can't get in the shot.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Gotcha.
So like the angles, it's one of the more awkward scenes in the movie because there's a lot. It's a real situation over there.
Yeah, I got you.
So like, he had to hit me. Mm-hmm. He had to really hit me. So when that hat flies off, that's because of the impact. You know, and when I hit that ground. And like that thud,
a big dude, man.
Yeah, that's a really big dude.
I know that hurt.
And then was this, if I'm not mistaken, this is when Rome is learning about Philly and...
This is where Rome goes to look for Philly.
Yes.
Now, right after that, I felt like Rome went a little too hard on her.
What?
Like when they're on the street, right? And he's saying like, you have him. I lost both my parents, and then like she's crying. And am I mistaken?
You're getting it on the money. I'm just shocked to hear you think I went easy on her. I was shocked.
No, I said you went too hard on her.
Oh yeah. That's not me. I'm sorry. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Oh, you don't think you went too?
I think Rome. I thought she should have gotten more. Like she lied to him.
So I don't know if we formally like acknowledge like what Philly was going through, but you learned that Philly. Mm-hmm. Philly is in this relationship with someone who suffered a horrible accident, and is he a quadriplegic as a result? Well,
that's the best thing about when you're telling a story, right? You can kind of leave it to the imagination of what's going on. You know that he can't walk. You know that he has problems with speech.
Yes.
You know that he needs someone to bathe him and to feed him, and that's kind of where it stands. So wherever like the medical background, there's a lot of different elements that come to it dealing with a traumatic experience where you're physically hurt.
Right.
We don't really know what the situation is, but we know that's where he's at right now, where he is undeniably in need of a real woman to stand by him in that situation.
And she definitely, she sure the hell was.
Yeah.
But I think that can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So the guy he
was way too hard on her.
So the guy that's disabled,
he's
a part of that biker gang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
all right.
He's a part of that gang.
Oh, it is what it is. I would probably do the same thing Arab did. You know what I'm saying? That's my man's girl. It's like, yo, bro, you coming over here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a fuck. She happy with you, my nigga. You know what I mean? Like,
that was his reaction too. He was like, yo, Boston. He was like, fucking Boston.
Yeah. And can I jump to the scene where she's talking to her boyfriend and they're by the water?
Yeah, that's dope.
me and Rome were watching that, and when she started like she was like breaking up with him, I was like, she's not gonna fucking break up with him, and like
I was like, yo, she's gonna push him in the water.
Yeah, we were like,
no, she just stayed there hugging him. She just stayed there.
That was the shit. That was
because they were right by the pier, so I was like, yo, is she gonna? It's hard not to think that that's your first thought. Like, of course, she's definitely not going to do that. But, like, she's talking about leaving him, but it's like, were you going to just, like, leave him by the pier? Like,
she stayed there, though.
In my mind, I was just like, yo, really? And then he can't even, like, respond to what she's saying, and I was just like...
He's got a wheelchair, right?
He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah. But again, his
you could move with your wheelchair.
Nah, he's like damn near like vegetable almost.
Oh, is it one of those like this? The ones with controller?
He was like pushing it everywhere, and then there's
so she has to carry him.
Yeah.
So she dumped this shit, and it has to bring him back to somewhere.
And there's a scene where there's a scene where she's bathing him and he's like on her lap, so it looks as if like he doesn't have any mobility in his upper body or like in his arms. So I was just like, damn, you gonna break up with him for the dude that's being mad aggressive with you to be in a relationship with you?
But what would you do? Like if you were, and this is a discussion I've loved to have with since the movie's been out. All my friends are calling me, people haven't seen it yet. I love speaking to the women because the guys actually, you know what? I'll ask the guys and the women this question. Let me not even break it down. But like, so the situation is very simple. You have someone that you've loved your entire life, but you were too young, and so when he asked you to marry him, for some odd reason you said no. Doesn't necessarily mean you don't love him. You just weren't ready for marriage at that point in time. Okay, because you said no, it started a chain of reactions that caused a fatal accident. That now this person that you love, the only person, your first love, is now a paraplegic. There's a new person coming in. You've only known for your freshman year of college for a short period of time, but y'all hit it off. Okay? What do you do?
Honestly, in my mind, I would be like, this is game. You know what I mean? I'm coming from this traumatic experience. I'm meeting this guy that's attractive, who's also dealing with his own trauma. Yeah, we have great things in common, but we don't really know each other like that. I don't know how you're going to be 5 years from now. I don't know how you're going to be 3 years from now, 6 years from now, whatever the case. And then I think that people often talk about like the newness of a relationship, and both characters especially being in a really vulnerable place. And yeah, you see this new person, you're attracted to them. Of course you're going to feel like you're in love with them. Of course. Like it's going to a degree feel like an escape for both parties. Like you talk about Rome.
Do you stick with the new?
Yeah. She's explaining it really well though.
Yes.
But she ain't giving the answer.
I say all of that to say that I would not get into a relationship with them. I would really try to remain friends if I feel like there's something there. But I wouldn't trust that I would feel ready to take on a relationship because nothing changes for the character. What I really like, another thing that I really like about the movie is that there's not this like gift wrapped happy ending. Like the character, I mean, can I say the ending?
Let's not give the whole ending.
Like it's not this. It's not this like, you know, gift wrapped happy bow. You know, like they still move forward with, whatever like issues that they're dealing with. Right. And then to be really honest, like the scene at the end where I was just like, Rome, do a lot of guys play basketball at night in the rain with their shirt off? Like, you know, so
guarantee you everyone has. Guarantee everyone has.
And I think
you out there, you ain't going back home. Finishing the job.
That is true.
And I think for the woman too, it's just like she's seeing like this attractive guy and it's romantic and it's this setting, and I think that like it's so easy to get swept up in that, and people always talk about like, you know, like think with your brain and not with your heart, and not leading on your emotions. But like my answer to that is that I would just do my best to be practical and be like, listen, you're still going through XYZ. This dude's like, when we were explaining the scene where like Philly and Boston are arguing. And she's saying, like, you know, what she's been going through, you know, Rome is saying, like, look, I lost both my parents. At least you have him. At least you have him here. It's kind of like, well, now it's a situation where it's like you're comparing your traumas. And
yeah, I don't think that's beneficial for either party.
Right, because it's just like one situation is always going to see and feel and seem worse than the other. But at the end of the day, like, you know, if it's me and Rome, host Rome, like if I'm saying, hey, I'm going through what XYZ and he's going through XYZ, mine is always not going to be comparable to his, but at the end of the day, we're both going to have this perspective of like, hey, you don't know what it's like to walk in my shoes. I definitely got it worse than you do. So to then be in a relationship with somebody like that, like, hey, your trauma is nothing compared to my trauma. Let's be together.
Yo, I think...
that sounds like them angry black women on social media, though.
Angry dubs?
Yo, I feel like I would, listen, I mean, I think...
I would still rock with them, but I would just be like, you can't be in a relationship.
Yo, I think reality would have to settle in, yo. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like,
I don't even know what that means, bro.
Yo, because...
That's kind of what
are you gonna... I mean, in different words, but like, are you gonna if you are in a relationship with someone, you weren't going to marry them. She wasn't gonna marry him. It's just, unfortunately, right after that, this shit happened, yo. Like, she ran out. They were talking through the window. He's, just come out the car. She was like, all right, I'll come out the car, you know what I mean? And right after that, you got hit by the car. So it's like, that's unresolved. They didn't even get to talk about that.
No
you know
closure,
what I mean?
no nothing.
It stopped. So there's definitely going to be a period where I have to sit with that. And I think probably after some time, after a year or so, after assessing, I'm going to jump back into the game, right?
But if you
you're a guy.
I'm gonna be this girl that you're feeling, and then you learn about like what she has going on.
How long is that after?
So I've always said that every single story we see before the first day of class happens before the start of the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that celebration, because it's a celebration scene where they kind of flashback to the proposal, was graduating from high school.
Okay.
So everything is very new. Well, hence why she's still crying in public when she hears like beautiful music. Everything is very new.
I'll say this, because I got an aunt and one of my brother's aunt, because I got brothers from, like, different mothers.
Gotcha.
But one of my aunts and one of my brother's aunts did the very same thing.
Oh, word?
Their significant others got into, like, a major accident.
Wow.
One was actually, paralyzed from the neck down. She left him. And my aunt, like, he ends up, get like metal rods, whatever. So he could walk and everything. I guess he looks normal now, like fine.
Yeah.
Like he's able-bodied, whatever. She left him too. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know with my aunt, her man will always cheat on her. You know what I'm saying? And so, to me, it's kind of like when she did it, nobody gave a fuck. It was just like, oh, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But then when I think about it, I got to be real with myself. And, like, I've even had conversations with, like cousins and boys locked up, where I would go visit them and stuff, and they'd be like, yo, you think she's gonna stay, this, that, and the third? And I'm like, yo, bro, I'm being honest with you, like, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, shorty's getting relationships for security. Like, you're not there. You can't even provide for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like me, if I was in that position, I would expect my woman to leave me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't want her to do it, but the reality is, it's like, yo, I'm fucking handicapped. What can I do? You know what I'm saying? I'm a burden on her life now. You know what I'm saying? So, it's one of those, it's like a hard pill you have to swallow. Just like, yo, it is what it is. She not fucking with me no more.
Gee, would you want to know, though?
Of course I would know. I would know myself. I'm not
would you want to know? Like, would you want her to tell you, like, yo, I am moving on, there's someone else?
Yeah, of course. To me, you can't be that stupid, right? I'm being honest. Yo, you gotta be smart enough to know, like, yo, my G, nigga, your dick probably don't even work no more. Like, yo, like, let's just be real. What can you do for this woman? You know what I'm saying? She's gonna be struggling. The way you depicted Philly, it sounded like, yo, shit is real. So it's like, yo, you not providing. You know what I'm saying? You got her stressing, probably taking bills, paying all the bills. She probably is popping pills too. You know what I'm saying? Like, she probably gotta wipe your ass every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, she gotta do all kind of shit. Yo, that's gonna get old. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta think about it. Like, yeah, you're putting them, and not to mention, y'all told me like, yo, she didn't even want to marry homeboy.
She harbors a lot of guilt as well.
Well, that's the whole thing.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's guilt that's like holding her back, and so she can never truly be free because she feels like maybe it's partly her fault that homeboy is handicapped. You know what I'm saying? But like me, I'm being honest. If I was her, I'm like, nah, nigga, it is what it is. If I was her, I would probably move. It'd be like from, Boston to Philly, be from Philly to Boston. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting the fuck up out of here and starting a new life, you know?
I guess if she would have been like, if she would have told him, like, yo, I'll still come through, I'll still help you out, we can still be friends. Because you don't, like, end a romantic relationship for, as it seems like they've been together, like, a really long time. And just...
I was going to ask that. How long?
Well, it's like a high school sweetheart. Again, like that's something that we didn't put too much emphasis on because again, your imagination can put it. But like our first introduction, when we finally hear about Philly's story, because we don't shed light onto Philly's backstory until the middle of the movie. Right. So you're figuring out what her storyline is, like what is her deal for like the first 40 minutes of the movie, and then you finally get to like word. Now we find out what's going on.
So she's been with homeboy, the paraplegic, since high school.
High school sweetheart, and so basically during the graduation, like, we see a big party. So we see him in the bathroom with the ring, like practicing how he's going to propose, and then we see people celebrating, and that's when he proposes to her. She says no, she runs off, and boom, now we're in a car outside, and shit's about to hit the fan. So again, this is all, for the most part, these are all kids. These are all teenagers.
Yeah.
So you have that, and throughout the movie, Philly didn't like easily let Rome in. Like, so she like every scene they were together, she constantly was all like, nah.
Yeah.
And Rome was constantly be like, yo, like. So.
Yeah. Plus, I gotta say something. Me personally, right? If I had like a daughter, even if a son, I'm being real, I would tell him like, yo. Like, it's high school, yo. Try not to fall in love, because when you go off to college, you're probably going to go off to college out of state or whatever, or the person that you're with is probably going to go to another school, whatever. Y'all going to just drift apart. There's no point in even falling in love in high school. It's just almost, like, pointless. Shit, I might even say that to if I had a daughter in college, like, yo, like, unless he's from your neighborhood or whatever, like, you sure you want to do this? Because it might not last. So, like, long-distance relationships is really hard. So, it's like, yo, think about it. You know what I mean? So,
but the idea of a high school sweetheart couples that have been married for, like, that, like, been together for years.
I don't know them niggas. I don't know.
My grandparents were high school sweethearts.
There you go.
No, that's a different era, though. See, you said grandparents.
Yeah.
Yo, motherfuckers was getting married at 15 back then. You gotta think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do that shit no more. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, you talking about back in the days when you had sex with a girl, technically that was your wife. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
You don't do that shit no more. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a couple people doing it.
Man, that's some great.
I don't know them niggas.
Well, yo,
you know them, hey.
We right on time for this last one, yo. So, what do you hope to achieve in the film's success? It's definitely on its way. It sounds like it's won plenty of awards and things like that. So, like, yeah, what are you looking for?
I mean, I'll be, good question. I'll be real with you, Rome. Like, I've already reached my expectations.
Okay.
I put this out just to be able to say that I put something that I cared about out, and I wanted people just to like the film. Mm-hmm. And the most important thing was I wanted the people that are part of the film to appreciate what was done and to be proud of it.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
from the vibe. Yeah. That's what it is.
Nice.
The awards, everything else that comes second. The best experience so far has been being able to give awards to Mia Mendes and Ty Birch. Mia Mendes won Best Actress. She beat Loretta Devine, who was in. She beat her for Best Actress award in the festival.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Loretta
Devine.
She plays Philly.
Dream Girl Loretta Devine.
What's her name?
You know what it is? You know what it is? And when you really think about it, the way the judges like broke it down, because I spoke to them afterwards, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Loretta Devine was Loretta Devine. Loretta Devine is Loretta Devine in every single movie. Right? So when you show no change in terms of like, okay, that's just a Loretta Devine role.
There's no growth in
There's no growth. And then you put Philly that has to deal with all these different things, and then you have a love scene, and then you have the breakup scene, and then you have like a spiritual scene, the religion. She did so much, it makes sense to give it to her.
She, first of all, it's a huge body of work to be very, very proud of. Like definitely seeing that and just seeing like all that went into it. And Philly did give like a really great performance.
I think she gives the best performance of them all.
Yeah, she went. You said Mia Mendes.
Mia Mendes, yeah. She's in Atlanta right now, so she's pushing the movie in Atlanta.
Word.
And I'm like Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then we have the entire cast and crew in Philly. So we're pushing it in three different sides.
Dope. Y'all are moving out here, man.
So I do got a question though. So what's the next step? So like now that this project's done, what's the next project or next projects?
Good question. So there's two steps going on at the same time, right? So we have the press tour that's been going on for about 2 weeks now. So I'm doing podcast, TV, radio. I was featured on Channel 5 in the summer. I think you guys saw the video in the email. I'm about to be on Channel 7 end of next month.
Nice.
And Sellers Kitchen, which is a Haitian American movie, and that's actually been shot entirely in Boston with the entire Boston cast and crew. Nice. And that's hopefully, I already dropped the teaser as a little sneak peek. Hopefully that's going to wrap up production the end of July. And hopefully by the fall and winter time I'll be premiering it. And of course you guys will get free tickets.
I got a question for you.
You already know.
To my fellow Haitian brother, did you see that documentary 1804?
Of course, yeah.
Yo, what was your thoughts? Like honest thoughts, be real.
I mean, all that stuff I already knew, but I didn't realize Wyclef. The new things I learned was that I didn't know Wyclef there was an assassination attempt on Wyclef. I didn't know that the first ever like gas warfare was done in the shores of Haiti.
Nah, I meant like more like
the
overall presentation of the documentary. Like,
okay.
Like, cause like me, I watched it. I own it actually. I purchased it, whatever. And I was like, damn. Like the sound was kind of funny style sometimes. Yeah. Like the visual quality was kind of low.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn. Cause like his previous like Hidden Colors like Tariq Nasheed's Hidden Color series. Yo, for the most part, there was at times the sound was funny style and everything, but like the editing usually is like better. I felt like this one was like really, really rushed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious seeing that you do films.
Yeah, to be real to you, when it comes to like any technical issues, I feel that when there's a good enough story or when there's enough happening in terms of the actual core, like you ignore all that stuff. There used to be a point in time where movies didn't have any sound, so you can we've evolved to a point where once you just accept the fact that okay, well maybe this scene doesn't sound that good or maybe this scene the production is a little bit down, just take it as is and focus on what you should. Yeah. I think 1804 does its job, which is teach those who don't know enough about Haiti. Yeah. And again, as someone that knows throughout the culture, I know everything about it. The fact that I learned things from watching the documentary, that's all you can ask for, right? Facts.
All right. Yo, well listen, that's it. That was a good episode.
This was lit.
That was real good.
It wasn't that bad.
Honestly, it got kind of deep. I never thought about diving into the issue of like would you stay, would you go with the partner that I didn't think that we'd talk about. That's like hearing those perspectives.
I feel like if I was Philly's friend, I'm like, who is this nigga that's pushing Who is he?
That's Boston.
For real. Well, yo, thanks for coming through.
Yo, Ma, yo, the one that with the cakes crying.
Yo, can you send me a link for the soundtrack? We always put music at the end of it, so
hell yeah, I can it's on iTunes right now.
It's on iTunes. All right, I'll get it. No, so listen, thanks for coming through. That's it. As always, make sure you go to upanic.com, upanicd.com. Go down to see join the combo, and that's it. And anything you need to plug, actually.
Just go check out the movie Boston 2 Philly. It's spelled out Boston 2 Philly. We're on Amazon Prime. By the end of July, we're going to be on Google Play and iTunes. We're waiting to hear back from Hulu. Support the film and check it out. So, we're out here.
I got mine on Amazon Prime, yo. That'd be dope if you get on Hulu.
It would be.
That'd be pretty boss.
I'm excited to hear the news.
Well, listen, but that's it, man. That's it. Thanks again. We'll talk again. And that's it. It's You Panic. It's You Panic. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Man, good shit,
that was a good episode.
Yeah.
Good episode. All right, guys.
I'm so happy that you